Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today's phrase is to kick the habit, and that's when you stop doing something which you think may be bad for you. It's not necessarily a bad thing in your life, but maybe just bad because of your circumstances. Let me give you a few examples to make it clearer. John decided that he drinks too much, so he's decided he's going to kick the habit. Sarah wants to give up smoking, but she's worried she won't be able to kick the habit without her friends supporting her. I spend too much money at the weekends. That's a habit I really need to kick. Peter goes to the gym every day, but he's going to kick the habit because it's costing him too much money. He can walk on the streets instead. So these are a few examples of kicking the habit. Now, a few days ago, I was telling you about a town in the north of the UK, which is very famous for entertainment, but also has a lot of social problems. That's Blackpool. And in the BBC News website today, there's a headline which says, "Trying to stay alive in a town of despair." And there's some really awful stories there about people who have had problems with addiction and how they are trying to kick the habits of using illegal substances. And there's many stories there. They really are quite grim. And this story is saying that Blackpool is now the drug death capital of England. And Scotland is the drug death capital of Europe as well. I was telling you the other day that the central government is trying to address this. It has a process in place which is called levelling up, and is trying to make sure that the northern parts of the UK receive as much money as the southern parts. But yeah, this is an awful story. So, yeah, how people are trying to kick the habits and get their lives back into some kind of normal living. Horrible story, horrible story. Anyway, moving on to other things, Sunday will be St. Patrick's Day. So wherever you are in the world, I'm sure there's going to be an Irish pub near you, because Irish people, of course, over the centuries travelled everywhere. So you can expect big celebrations, especially if you live in the English-speaking world. If you're not sure if there are going to be celebrations, simply find your local Irish pub, and I can almost guarantee they'll be having a party or a street parade. Around here, there's going to be a St. Patrick's Day celebration, which will be having live music, an outdoor festival. The local church will be having special services in Gaelic. That's the Irish and Scottish indigenous language. In Ireland, it's called Gaelic, and in Scotland, it's called Gaelic. Very popular. It's a day associated with heavy drinking. So, for those of you who are trying to give up alcohol, who are trying to kick the habit, it might not be a good celebration for you. There's going to be huge street parades across the English world. If you have access to American TV, have a look around Boston because loads of Irish people went there in the 19th century. We all have cousins who live in the Boston area. Boston is the most European part of America and has a massive Irish cultural hub, since many of them are descended from us. Both my grandmothers were Irish, so I'll be enjoying St. Patrick's Day celebrations. For people who are descended from the Irish, but who are not Irish themselves, Irish people call us plastic paddies. Paddy is a nickname for Patrick. And they call us plastic paddies because we're not really Irish, but we have Irish blood. And the Scots and the Irish are intertwined. They're more or less the same people. Everyone is Celtic. My parents were both Scottish. I was born there, but I grew up in London, which is why I don't have a Scottish accent. There we are. So St. Patrick's Day, that's going to be a big, big celebration across the UK and Ireland this weekend. Other news stories today. I see Concorde is back in the news. Now, I love Concorde. That's the supersonic plane that used to travel at high speed. It was taken, I think, out of service many years ago. There isn't just one of them. I think there's 8 or 9 of them. And there's been talk about bringing it back. But one of them sits outside Heathrow Airport. You can see it. It's on display there. And another one is in a museum in America. And it says here, Concorde completes its latest journey along the Hudson River. Now, this is a bit strange because it's not actually flying anywhere. It was taken from its museum and it was sent to be repainted. And there's a picture here of it sitting on a boat going past the Statue of Liberty, heading back to the museum. What an odd picture. I think I remember reading the other day that it actually was flying last year. Is this not the same one that flew away for some repairs, and this is them bringing it back? And it was the first time a Concorde had flown for, I think, 20 years or something like that. But anyway, this Concorde is floating down the Hudson River after months of repairs. And it's going back to the Intrepid Museum in Manhattan. It looks beautiful, I have to say. I haven't seen the Concorde for years. I do remember when it passed over London when I was a teenager. You would know it was the Concorde. It made a very different noise from other aeroplanes, and it was much louder. It's very interesting. And of course, it was an icon of the 80s, wasn't it? It holds the world record for the fastest transatlantic crossing by a passenger aircraft. It could go from London Heathrow to New York in 2 hours, 52 minutes and 59 seconds. I did a podcast about that, I think, a few months ago, so you can find that on my podcast feed. The Concorde was the only supersonic commercial jet to fly internationally and had a top speed of 1,354 miles per hour. Don't ask me what that is in kilometers. I have no idea. Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. And another news story that's going around today that you might be interested in is that apparently 20,000 people are off work every month in the UK because of mental health issues. The government has revealed 20,000 people every month are unable to work because of mental health problems, and that makes up 2/3 of the total number of people who aren't or cannot work, who aren't allowed to work or cannot work. Very interesting, isn't it? It doesn't say here how they plan to fix the issue, but I would imagine that they'll have some plan to get people going. They're saying our welfare reforms will cut this number and will begin giving people personalized support so that people can try to work without any fear of losing any benefits. Yeah, because if you're sick here, the government give you cash. It's a really weird situation. You can also be working at the moment, be disabled, and receive money from the government, even though you have a high salary. I don't quite know how all this works, but yeah, the saying 2/3 of people who get benefits from the government are classed as disabled because of mental health issues. That's quite worrying. Yeah, I don't know how they'll deal with that. So that's another story that's going around today. And of course, in that figure, there'll be people who are recovering from addiction as well, especially if the country has such a big problem with it, like the earlier story. Another news story today is all about Meghan Markle. She's launched a new brand and has returned to Instagram. So it seems that she kicked the habit in 2020 of using Instagram, but she's back. And within a few hours, she got 200,000 followers. The story is actually about her brand, but it's not saying much about that. It's talking more about how she was able to get so many followers so quickly. Her new brand has been announced, and it includes cookbooks, tableware, linens, a range of jams and spreads and butters, table place card holders, and she is very clear saying that they're not of precious metal, so they're not gold or silver. And there's a picture of her here looking really sultry, standing in a black evening gown. And then there's also another thing here. It's a second brand which has stationery, textiles, string bags, yoga gear, and a range of pet-related items. I don't think my cat would like a Meghan Markle collar. I can imagine his response. He probably would just sit there and say, "Mom." The launch also included an Instagram story which bears some resemblance to a TV series, and it shows Meghan Markle arranging flowers in the kitchen. wearing this black ball gown. And there's also a sign up on a website somewhere. Um, yeah, I don't. I'm not sure what I think about that, to be honest with you. Um, she's also engaging in charitable work, which advocates for digital trust and safety. Um, and it's saying that it's a return to work for Megan, who previously was interviewing celebrity friends, shared recipes, and blogged about travel and food. Oh, she sounds like me, doesn't she? And then it says that they expect it to be very successful. So that's the news today about Meghan Markle. Meanwhile, there's another news story in one of our other newspapers about Kate, saying how senior royals or senior employees of the royal family aren't allowed to see Kate, which again is bringing up this mystery and conspiracy about where she is or what happened to her. Today would be a very good day to decide to give up something. Maybe some of you are already doing that for the 40 days before Easter, or some other practice. And if you are doing that, I wish you every success. So, see you again soon. Bye.